All right, so this is chapter 2, inequalities. AJ, what do you know about inequalities? Anything at all?
Well, you can be greater than, less than, equal to.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, I'm glad you read the cover. Sometimes the cover has some hints on it. Okay, we were talking about greater than, equal to, less than, or equal to. But Liam, do you actually know what the word inequality means? It means not equal, okay? So we're gonna be comparing two things, and that's where these comparison symbols come from, okay? So in an equation, you have two sides that are equal, okay? And then with inequalities, you're gonna have two sides that are not equal. One side's gonna be bigger than the other, type of deal. And these are inequality symbols. All right, we have greater than and less than. Those are going to be open circles. Okay, do you guys remember that from back in the day, maybe middle school? Maybe Mr. Booth taught you open circles for those. Now, if it has the line, all right, it's filled in. It's a solid circle. Okay, so greater than and less than or equal to are solid circles. So here's a little picture of Pac-Man because when I'm doing inequalities, I'm thinking about eating, okay? You always eat the bigger piece, so to say. And that'll make sense, okay? And I can draw a Pac-Man or an alligator, whichever one kind of feeling at the time. All right, so 2.1, writing and graphing inequalities. So we already talked about what inequalities mean. These are the symbols as AJ told me, okay? Couple of different kind of key terms for it. This symbol is less than, and then we have is fewer than. So it's just different ways to compare it. I'm not going to go through it all because it's just me reading it, but you guys have heard these before. The tricky ones I want to highlight though are these. So these that I underlined are tricky, okay? They often get students. Less than or equal to can be read as is at most. And it's weird because you're talking about something being less than, yet you're using the word is at most. So don't let that confuse you. And then is no more than, if something's no more than, then it's less than. Now, is at least, it's confusing because we're talking about things that are greater than, and you're going to use the word at least. So these are just kind of be aware of these, okay? Read it carefully, slow down, think about it. What does it actually mean? If something is no less than, then it must be greater than. And that's how I go about those. All right, so now we have to write the inequalities. So writing an inequality, just like we did with the verbal phrases in chapter 1, when we read it, we're just going to kind of fill it in. So it says a number W minus 3.5 is less than or equal to, less than or equal to -2. All right, so I'm just using that kind of word bank at the top to help me fill this in. The temperature T in Sweden is at least -10 degrees Celsius. So Liam, if something's at least, then it must be greater than. So here, the temperature T in Sweden is at least, and Liam said it must be greater than or equal to -10 degrees Celsius. Nate.
Yeah.
The elevation of Alabama is at most 2,407 feet. What is at most? What does that mean?
the elevation like won't be more than that. That's the most.
Yeah.
extreme.
Yeah, it can't be more than that. If it can't be more than that, then it has to be less than that. Meaning that is the highest peak in Alabama, which I always thought Alabama was relatively flat. Apparently I was wrong. And upcoming marathon's qualifying time is 3 hours. Okay, so kind of think of the Boston Marathon. Will a runner with a time of 3 hours and 9 minutes qualify for the marathon? Hope, what do you think? If you have to run a marathon in 3 hours to qualify for like the Boston Marathon, if I run it in 3 hours and 9 minutes, do I qualify for it? No, of course not. That one's easy. Big old no. You were running too slow. All right, you guys try them. We got 5 right here. Go ahead and try to fill those out.
We just do the sign or the
You got to do the whole equation. So like, right, so if you see this one, number 1 says you must be at least 16 to get your driver's permit.
Yeah.
So if you have to be at least, then you have to be more than, right? You have to be older. So we're going to do 16 has to be less than or equal to, I'm just going to say your age. Now, Sophie, we could have written it like this. Now, why are these the same? You know, do you see how in each case I'm eating the egg? Like a kind of like a Pac-Man with a mouth. So as long as you're eating the egg, it doesn't matter what. Right. I used to draw alligators. That was like so 2019. You can draw an alligator. You just remember that's 2000 and late. You okay, bro? Sorry for doing all that.
Yeah.
Angela's got stuff at the beginning of the hour. How you doing, guys? Thank you. All right. Angela, what did you get for number 2? You can earn at most 100% on your report card. Very good. R is less than or equal to 100. Now you could have used any letter. All right, I assume you used R for report card. Okay. You could have used G for grade. Okay. Or you could have just been like, I'm just going to call it X. It doesn't matter. Okay, nice job. Emma,
Yeah.
12 is greater than or equal to 5 times the number n.
12 and then the greater than equal to symbol 5n.
Very good. So we have 12 is greater than or equal to 5n. So just be mindful, make sure, this is why, like, unfortunately, you guys at home don't get to see it. Make sure when you're eating the bigger number, kind of think of it like hands, like a shark, maybe. You get like puppets. You might get puppets, you never know. Impulse buy. You're eating the bigger number. For you guys, I think of my inequality symbol as like a Pac-Man with teeth. He's going to eat the bigger thing. Okay. Yeah, just draw a Pac-Man, put some teeth in there. Okay. There we go. Neve. Number 4.
Yeah.
Number 4. 7 is less than or equal to the difference of a number q and 6.
Here. I didn't get an answer for that one.
Let's do it together. First, let's start out by writing the number 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's less than.
So you minus.
Well, not yet, because you're going to use the inequality symbol here. So the less than symbol means that the 7 gets the butt. Okay, the butt of the kind of symbol. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so then do you do
Like the mouth and the other end's like the back end. All right, so it says 7 is less than or equal to. Now it says difference. What does difference mean, Neve?
subtraction?
So now I'm going to subtract the next two things, which is q and 6. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right, last one. Jordan. 0 is greater than or equal to 2x plus 1. That kind of weird when you the answer is just reading it out loud in the sentence, right? So, but yeah, there we go. So the key with all of these is you're always going to eat the bigger thing. You got to think of it as a mouth. Okay? All right, let's turn the page and let's talk about what a solution to an inequality is. Now, we started out class by saying inequalities were two things that weren't equal. You're comparing one side. And as long as that comparison is true, that's going to be a solution. What do I mean by true? Well, if you're telling me that x needs to be greater than 5, any number that you give me that is larger than 5 is going to be a solution. So like 10 would be a solution. 12, 100, they're all solutions. Numbers that wouldn't be a solution would be like 3. 3 is not bigger than 5. 2 is not bigger than 5. Now here's the tricky one. 5 is not a solution because 5 is not bigger than 5. Okay? So you have to pay attention to it. If I said A is greater than or equal to 3, well, those answers would look like 7, because 7 is bigger than 3. 13 is bigger than 3. And 3. Well, 3 is greater than or equal to 3. So you have to really pay attention to those symbols. All right, so if it has a line under it, that means the two sides could be equal. If there is no line, they can't be equal. So it'd be no bueno. So here, a solution is a value that makes the inequality true. So up here we have x plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 2. And I'm asking, is negative 6 a solution? So I would go ahead and plug in negative 6, and I would do negative 6 plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 2. When I do negative 6 plus 5, I get negative 1, and negative 1 is bigger than negative 2, so we're good. Now, the middle one is the key here, okay? Meaning negative 7 is a solution because, watch, negative 7 plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 2. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. And negative 2 is greater than or equal to -2. So that's why it's a solution. And the last one, -8, is not a solution because -8 plus 5 is -3, and that is not bigger than -2. So let me show you what it looks like, okay? And then I'm going to let you guys try. Now, a few things you need to be aware of because this kind of threw you guys for a loop. This back half, this is telling you what x is equal to. That semicolon divides the problem and what that value of x is. So this just means I'm going to take the -12 and I'm going to plug it in for x. So I'm going to write -12 plus 8. Is that less than -3? That's what I'm asking. Is it less than? Now I'm going to answer. Is -12 plus 8? That is -4. That is, in fact, less than. Notice -4 is less than -3. So this is, so I would write x equals -12 is a solution. For B, I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to plug it in. -4 times 5. I'm asking, is that bigger than -12 or -21? So -4 times 5 is -20. And I'm still asking, is this true? Yes or no? -20 is bigger than -21. So this is a solution. So I'd write x equals 5 is a solution. Now, that's the work I'm kind of looking for. Drew, you okay?
Yeah.
All right. I want you guys to try 1 and 2. Are you done? You are. What's on the next? I don't really. All right, good. I'm almost done.
Mr. Carter, are you sure?
So you're going to have -2 is less than -1. And that would be true. So you would write -6 is the solution. All right, Destiny, what did you get for number 1? Was it a solution, yes or no? Yeah, it was. So if we take -6 and we go ahead and plug that in, we get -6 plus 4, and we're comparing that to -1. -2 is less than -1. That is true. X equals -6 is a solution. Nicely done, Destiny. And let's go with Harshawn. Harshawn. Mackenzie.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, what'd you get for number 2?
X equals 5 is not a solution.
It's not a solution. Let's look at that. Plug that in. We have 4 times 5. And I'm asking, is that greater than 20? And the answer is no. No, it's not. 20 is not greater than 20. X equals 5 is not a solution. Now it says compare the following two inequalities. X is less than 5 and 5 is greater than X. What are possible values? Could somebody give me a solution here? Liam? X equals 6. Is 6 greater than 5? Okay. You sure? 6 is greater than 5? So let me put this in for you. Is that true or false, Liam? That's false, right? Negative 6. So this is true. Okay. Anybody else want to give me one? Drew?
Can it just be anything that's less than 5?
It is. Any number less than 5. And this goes back to what I was telling Sophie at the start of all of this, that it doesn't matter where you put the x, but notice in each one, what number am I eating? I'm eating the 5. So in this one right here, notice the mouth is opening towards the 5. And in this one, the mouth is still opening towards the 5. So it is the same thing. Any questions? No? All right. Let me end this.